Good morning, everybody. Welcome. I woke up this morning and I took our sweet little King Charles Spaniel out for a little walk this morning, and there was not one cloud in the sky. It was so beautiful. I felt so much of God's love pouring down, and I felt like, the beautiful blessing ceremony that we saw last night, but also the opening of the Chanjangung happened last night while many of us were sleeping. They had to reschedule in Korea because of the rain, but I felt this beautiful sunshine, like God felt so happy, so happy. During Mother's benediction prayer, I don't know about you guys, but if I'm honest, the idea of the Chanjangung really had me struggling. Why do we need a building? Another building far away in Changpyeong. I mean, our community is going through our own struggles with buildings, right? Am I right? Oh, another building, another grand, opulent building. But listening to Mother's prayer, I really felt repentant for not understanding how much this was coming from a place of deep, sincere love for God. And last night I was really, reading through many of her words, looking for the right quotes to share with you all today, and reading through Father's words. And she's certainly not as elaborate as True Father was. But hearing that prayer, I could not deny how she went through everything that she went through because she loves God so much. And I felt, yes, I understand that. I deeply admire and respect that. And so this morning, when I felt all of that sunshine, all of God's happiness and comfort, that she could make this offering to him. And it's not just an offering from True Mother, but it's from all of us, right? It's all of us and our heart to really say to God that we really love you. So yeah, sorry, that's not the sermon, but I was something I felt I wanted to share. So my sermon today is, thank you. What 19 years of marriage taught me about the blessing. Seeing all of those happy couples last night. Did anybody watch the broadcast? How many of you guys tuned in and watched the live stream? Yeah. Did you see those beautiful couples from our New Jersey family community? Yeah. I was here with the new Chunbo registrants and watching from the church, and as soon as we could see Resred and Hana, we started clapping yay, Resred! And then, there's a Sami, really excited for them. Yes, Grace Burns was also there, yes. Yeah, it was so exciting to see all of these couples, and you just feel all of the love, right? But there was also this thought in the back of my head, they don't know what they have coming. Get ready, guys. This is just the start. So What 19 years of marriage has taught me about the blessing is really there was so many things, I could just go on and on forever, but I really tried to boil it down to like 3 things. And those 3 things were that the blessing is learning to love. The blessing is an act of faith. And the blessing is the true front line of heaven's providence. So the blessing is learning to love. So in the scripture reading, the magic among all magical events is the existence of man and woman. If just one side existed, human history would have ended. You must understand the value of the Unification Church blessing from this angle. Once you meet your spouse, that is your connection to eternity. You must be thankful and be so strong and bold that you would not exchange the original husband and wife's love for the cosmos or even God. If you taste true love in the Unification Church, that light of love must follow you no matter where in the world you go. Without loving humanity and the cosmos centering on true love, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. So when we think of love, we think of like lovey-dovey, the romantic love that we see in the movies, and everything just falls into place and it's all perfect and harmonious right from the get-go, right? But that's not real, deep, authentic love, right? Love, what I've learned is that it's a muscle. It's a muscle that you are gonna suck at in the beginning. You are going to be bad at it because you haven't done it before. You haven't done it yet with your spouse. You haven't worked through those problems. You haven't practiced understanding each other and really to be harmonious. It's a journey to get there. It's not a state of being that everything is just tra-la-la perfect, right? And it's not just a state of being, but it's also a mindset. Am I willing to face the hard choices and not just seek out what's easy? Is that not the standard that our true parents have taught us? Do not run away from the hardship. I think every major religious leader, Jesus, Buddha, the I Ching, all the Taoism, all of these teachings are teaching us, do not run away from what is difficult. Don't seek the easy path because there is such a gift on the other side. So did you know that lifting weights, like when you're bodybuilding, when you lift weights, you're actually tearing your muscles. They're micro tears inside. So you're ripping it apart. That's why it hurts, right? But even in exercise, we do it so that we can build strength, we build endurance, we build resilience. Those micro tears heal, and then they're stronger, right? And so in marriage, every time we go through hardship together, it is an opportunity for us to go deeper and to come together more deeply with more understanding. Every time we heal from those fights, we are healing to be stronger and more resilient together. That is how we come to really resemble God. This is so different from the way other people approach marriage. That marriage is like you find somebody, you fall in love, yeah, I want to be this, they bring out the best in me, and that's great, right? But if you pick up any of Father's speeches, any of them, he loves to talk about suffering and hardship, right? Right? Oh, people will pity the people of the Unification Church because they willingly go seek out hardship, right? But it's not that we seek out hardship because we enjoy suffering or that we, that he's punishing us or something like that. It is that there is a gift of resilience, of developing our heart through going through those hardships. I've also learned that in building this muscle, such a precious, precious viewpoint that we have in our unificationist culture is looking at my spouse as my Messiah, right? I think, the fairy tale wedding is like my knight in shining armor comes to sweep me away and whisk me away from all of my troubles, right? But that idea I was thinking about, I was like, it's just running away from your troubles, Like, off you go. Or this idea that my husband is going to save me by fixing it for me. No. The truth is that my husband, who is here today, he is my Messiah. Why? Because he holds a mirror up to me and keeps me accountable. When we're by ourselves, it's so easy to just be like, I'm fine. I'm a good person. I don't need to change. What do I need to change? I don't need to change. I'm good. Live my life, go along, tra-la-la, right? But who is the person that's most likely to call you out on your BS? The person who knows you most intimately. When you're growing up, that's like probably your brothers and sisters and your mom and dad, right? Like your mom knows when you're up to no good. Did you clean up your room? Did you do your homework? Right? They know. But as we get older and we become an adult, who is that person? It is our spouse. And that is how our spouse saves us, by keeping us accountable to change, to keep learning, to become better. That we don't fool ourselves into believing that I don't need to change and everything's good and we'll just keep it, stagnant. Each time we choose to face ourselves in that mirror, and how difficult is that? How difficult is it to be really honest and to say, you're right. I need to work harder on this, right? It's not easy. It's not an easy thing, because when we feel accused, what is our natural reaction? Defense. Yes, defense. Exactly. No, you're wrong. No, you're wrong because you did this last time, da-da-da. I know that's my default, Well, no, you can't bring that up because it's not just me that's wrong, it's you're wrong too, because you did this last time, and so you can't just blame me, right? We all know that familiar pattern, but it's really hard to accept, to humble ourselves, and to say, yes, this is something that I need to work on, and I will do that because I love you. One thing that happened early in our marriage, we were going through a hard time together, and I remember we were in a really, really, really difficult fight. I mean, like, it was very intense, very intense. And he started to cry, which actually he doesn't cry. I've never really, I think, like, pretty sure that's the only time I've seen him cry, like shed tears. But he was in so much pain from this fight that we were having. And I was so shocked from seeing him cry. Like, it was completely unexpected. I felt like my brain split in two in that moment, just right then in that moment. Because I was so mad. And I was like, you are wrong. And I'm right, and you need to understand my side. And I wouldn't let it go. But in that moment, it like shocked me. And I was like, one side was like, push, fight, because you are right. And the other side said, stop, care for him, because you hurt him. Look, he's suffering. And in that moment, I felt this choice. I can keep pushing and saying, I'm right, and I can win this fight, or I can put my guard down and say, I'm sorry that I hurt you. And I'm grateful that I was aware enough to do that. But why did I do that? What motivated me to do that? Because I love him. When you fight with a friend, it's so easy to just kind of say, like, well, they're an idiot, so I don't need that friend in my life anymore, right? But we made a commitment to Heavenly Parent to take care of each other. And the love that we felt for each other could be, that love in that moment, I had the choice to really make that love deeper or to keep it shallow. What does this love really mean to me? That I'm willing to deny my ego. I'll say another thing, and it reminds me of this phrase that I can't change him, I can only change myself, right? That's a piece of wisdom I hope to pass on to all of these young, new couples. You cannot change the other person. The minute you start thinking, if they would just understand this, if they would just stop doing that, everything will be better, they're fooling themselves. I can only change myself. So, have any of you guys ever done the marriage course? Yeah, we've got a few couples in the house. Great, yes. So one of the sessions is on active listening. And I was thinking about this, and I realized that the reason the active listening session is so powerful, and I was so skeptical. I thought this was the dumbest thing in the world. There's no way this is going to work. Because you listen to the other person, then you repeat what they say. You say exactly their words. Don't even try to interpret like, oh, I think you meant that. No, you say exactly their words. And then you ask them, so what is the essential point or the main part of what you shared? And then you repeat again, and then what can I do to help with that? And then you repeat their words again. And I was like, this repeating, like I feel like a parrot. There's no way this is gonna like work in a fight. But one day we were driving home in the car and we were about to get into a big fight. You know, there's always that one topic you always fight about. And okay, here we go. It's going to ruin the day. But then I was like, okay, marriage course, I'm going to try this active listening and see if it works, because I don't believe it. And so I didn't tell him that I was doing the steps, but in my head, okay, what do I need? Okay, repeat his words, and then, okay, and then repeat, and then when I finished, I was like, okay, now we're gonna fight. Like, he's gonna like really get into it. And actually, he just said, oh, thanks. I really needed that. And then that was it. And I was like, what happened? Like a switch just flipped. I was so shocked. And then it made me realize that I don't give him enough space to express his heart. That when we fight, I would always bring up other things, always turn the fight around and make it about me and my feelings and how you hurt me. And I never gave him the opportunity to just express his heart. And so why is active listening so amazing? Because I'm not changing him. I'm not forcing him to understand something or changing him. I'm listening. We have 2 ears, right? And 1 mouth, because we should listen more than we speak. It was incredible. But again, that denial of myself, because of course I was like, I want to say something, but okay, just wait, finish the steps. Each time we have these fights and we break through and we heal and we come back together as a couple, we're putting deep roots into God, because we are loving each other as God wanted us to love each other. And through those difficulties, we are creating oneness in our couple. That is how God comes down. Mother shared some words. She said, there are olive trees that are 2,000 years old. Olive trees are mentioned in the Bible. You wonder how they endure in the desert for so long. Based on what I understand, the roots of an olive tree can go down 15 meters in search of water. How can they do this? Olive tree roots pass through hard rocks, soil, and sand along the way. It amazes me how they can go down 15 meters to find water. Trees that grow deep roots can survive 1,000 years, for 2,000 years. And they produce fruit. Therefore, please offer prayer and your devotion. You should be able to grow deeper roots than an olive tree does. Grow your roots down deep in unity with True Mother, the only begotten daughter. Okay. Yes. What does that mean? It doesn't mean just obey everything Mother says. That unity is how we practice God's love in our couple, in our family. So the blessing is, it's an act of faith. This one makes me really overcome with such deep gratitude to all of the first generation here. And of course, to true parents. Because, of course, we understand from divine principle that Adam and Eve lost God and they acted without God, and it caused sinful humanity. But for true parents to realize that understanding and share that, and to find the first generation here who were willing to put God first, to say, yes, Father Moon, please choose my spouse because I believe that God is working through you to choose someone for me. That you are not, that act of faith was that you were not looking for your own happiness. You went into this knowing that it would be difficult and challenging, but with a willing heart because you love God so much, because you trusted that God was working in your life. And that kind of foundation of faith turned into true substance is so precious. And that is the foundation on which we all stand. Even more so for the couples who could really dig deep and find love. Where did all of those couples come from in that stadium? Majority of them were second generation, right? Why do you think those second generation decided to go to the blessing? Irmgard hit it right on the head. Because of their parents. To see our parents really develop that kind of authentic love. It's not flimsy love where like I follow my feelings and this doesn't feel right, and walk away or split up, not easily. But to see our parents find real love through the blessing, through every fight that you had on the course of restoration, to build that love, that is a deeply rooted tree of love. And that is what inspires our children to seek the blessing. Because you guys did that. You guys manifested that powerful, authentic love. That is the love that the world is yearning for. That is an unshakable tree. I think Matthew and I were one of the last. 2004 we got blessed. So there were still a few more rounds of matchings that happened by true parents, but I remember when I was growing up, my father would always be like, I would be like, oh my God, Appa, there's this really annoying kid at school, and he's so annoying, and I hate him. And my dad would be like, could you get blessed to him? Could you accept if True Father matched you to that person? Like, why? No. Then you're not ready to get blessed. Okay. I'm not even old enough anyway. But you have to prepare by being ready to accept anyone, right? That is an act of faith. We go into the blessing not seeking happiness, but that we are doing this not only for myself. I think, as the tradition has evolved and now it is through our parents that we receive the matching, there's more opportunity for there to be happiness from the beginning, of course, and it's not such a throw them in at the deep end, as the older generation have gone through, but still it is an act of faith, and it is an understanding that because of the foundation that our first generation parents laid, that the blessing is not only me, but it's an honoring of my parents. It's an honoring of true parents. It's an honoring of God, our heavenly parent. And that the happiness is not only my happiness, but it's for the sake of the world. How many other people get married for the sake of the world? Not many, right? And I think that's one of the most beautiful parts of our holy blessing marriage ceremonies. Ooh, and I don't know about you guys, but I know that God gave me what I needed and maybe not what I wanted. But in the end, actually, it was what I wanted all along. I didn't know that. So, my last point, the blessing is the true front line of heaven's providence. I hate that word, front line, by the way. I'm like, no more military language, please. Just leave it all in the pioneer era. We're settlement era now. No more military fighting and victory. Oh, no, thank you. But there's something, I don't know, I couldn't find another word to describe this. I think it's easy to feel like frontline is witnessing or fundraising, because when the older generation, when you guys joined this movement, that was kind of the expectation, right? You were single, you were go-getters, you're like, yes, let's win the world for God. And so you go out and you fundraise and you witness and you put yourself in positions of hardship, right? To grow spiritually, to practice all of these things that we're learning in divine principle. And it's easy to think that that is the front line. But actually, the blessing is the front line. Your family, your children are the front line. That is where we develop the muscle of loving the way God loves. And I should say, going back to that scripture verse, the last line of it, if you taste true love in the Unification Church, that light of love must follow you no matter where in the world you go. Without loving humanity and the cosmos, centering on true love, you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven. When you build that muscle of love in the family, you can go out and love other people. That is how we can love humanity. It's not always the other way around. We think, oh, I got to go out and I have to love all of these people and spiritual children, right? But how do you love your spiritual children? How do you practice being a parent, right? By being a parent. Nobody knows how to push your buttons better than your kids. You know, the rebellion and the spiritedness. That is where we are challenged to dig deep, to really, really practice patience and kindness because of that love. Because you feel that love for your children so easily, right? And so then tasting that love, that parental heart, we can go out and we can practice that with others. And we don't marry for the sake of ourselves, right? I think 1982, my parents were at the Madison Square Garden blessing. In that photo, there's like a banner, right? The motto, what was the motto for that blessing? World, yes? World peace through ideal families, right? That is such a core understanding of the blessing. That's why we are so international and diverse, that Father Moon brought together enemy nations, people of lineages of enemy nations, to heal. Because how can you hate your grandchildren who share the blood of my enemy? They're no longer enemies. That's my family. So different from the way that people usually get married, right? The usual motivations. We're doing this because we want to heal God's heart through healing these divisions. And I think a really important piece of this is also that through the blessing, through that understanding, we are walking into our marriage trying hard to see our spouse from God's viewpoint, right? That he's not there to fulfill my needs or to fill this hole in my heart because I feel inadequate and all of my shame and these things. He's not there to make me feel better. That's not his purpose. He is God's son, and I am making a promise to God to take care and honor his son, and vice versa. And I think I knew this because when we had our private ceremony, he shared this in his vows to me, promising to be my rock because he knew that God was entrusting me to him. And but hearing him share about it at the Yum testimony night last month, it just reminded me how beautiful it is that when you are in pain, when you feel like I cannot love this person because they just hurt me so much. How could they do this? How could they hurt me like this? They must not care about me. But to take that perspective of stepping outside of yourself, of looking to God, how does God see this person? Oh, okay. It's not just about me and him, but that he could remember that he made a promise to God. And so even though it hurts, I'm going to set aside my pain and remember what God is asking me to do. So beautiful. So sincere. Is that not an example of true love? This is the true love that true father talks about, that true mother is talking about, that God is searching for. And I think that because of that, I was able to learn to understand my value in God's eyes by seeing me through my husband's eyes. Which is, it's not always easy, you know? He would be like, oh, you're so beautiful today. And I'd be like, yeah, whatever. No, it's just scrubby clothes, you know? But then, wait, why is he saying that? You know? Why am I questioning it? Why am I rejecting that? Why am I brushing it off like it's nothing? He really wants to express his love to me. I guess I am beautiful in his eyes. And so, by learning to accept, then I could also start to see God also must love me this way. And to start my journey, to continue my journey to know God more deeply through that relationship. So, sorry, I covered a lot of points, but I'm just going to sum it up with this passage from the Chansangyang in chapter 3, or book 3? Book 3. Our path is the way of love. It is one path, whether an individual walks it or a family walks it. The way of love is the same for both. East or west, whatever one's race or nation, the way of love is the same for all. The direction does not differ between the path of love for the individual and the path of love for the family. Only the number of people is different. The way is the same. It is one road with the same focal point. It is the path of God's love. Our birth is rooted in God's love, right? All of the sacrifice that you guys did. We all were born within an amazing path of love, which is connected to the cosmos and rooted in the original love within our parents. Even after the fall, this root holds strong. Our tendency to pursue goodness and our desire to add value remains. It is what makes historical restoration possible. That origin within us can foster new development. So, yeah, let us really treasure the blessing, really treasure this gift that true parents have given to us, that it is a way for us to practice and to understand true love, to manifest it in reality, that God can live here in the presence of our love. Thank you so much.